Hello and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Artur Kane. I'll be your host of the tonight's show, if you wish. The topic of today's webinar is product roadmap for 2019. I'm super thrilled to have you all joining. There is a massive audience today, so there's going to be a lot of fun. Today, my colleagues from product management will be joining me. We have Tomáš, Martin, and Rostislav. Each one of them will take their block and their part of the roadmap. So let's not waste any more time and let's get to it. A few instructions. We're using GoToMeeting software for the webinars. All of you are muted, so you cannot ask questions directly, but you can use inbuilt questions. And once you send them, we'll be answering them after every block, after every product. And also there'll be another time to go through questions at the end of the webinar. We'll be sharing recording of the webinar with you a few days after the webinar finishes, and we'll also provide you with the full slide deck so you can use it for any purposes. All right, before we start, to put everything into perspective, you may know that Flowmon works with flow data, not limited to, but flow is the main source of data for us. We can take the data from third-party sources, such as routers or switches or firewalls, and that's sort of a starter pack. You can also use our Flowmon probes to generate NetFlow data, and in that case, you're also enriching the data with information from L7, L2, and getting much better level of detail. Plus, you'll be able to do on-demand packet capture and more. All this data is then collected and stored on Flowmon Collector, where you can run analysis to see what's in your traffic. And Flowmon Collector can be extended with modules that provide different perspective and different analytical tools to work with your data, such as anomaly detection or application performance monitoring. Today's agenda will actually be separated into 4 blocks per our use cases. The main use case and what Flowmon focuses on is network visibility. And there are 2 major areas. One is IT operations, where we'll be talking about network performance monitoring and diagnostics, and they'll be described by my colleague Rostislav. We'll also talk about application performance monitoring delivered by Tomáš. And in security area, we have network behavior analysis, again, with Tomáš, and also DDoS detection with Martin. And yes, as mentioned, these are 4 blocks, and this is agenda for today. Starting with network performance monitoring and diagnostics. Hi, Rostislav, how are you?
Hello, Artur. I'm doing great. Thank you very much for the great introduction.
The word is yours.
Sorry?
The word is yours.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I've said that already. So let's take a look on the NPMD part and what are we preparing in the next couple of months for you, and what news and changes are we planning to introduce in the product. A little repetition in the beginning. What is NPMD? NPMD, as Artur mentioned, stands for Network Performance Monitoring and Diagnostics. And in context of Flowmon, it includes both the hardware part, such as Flowmon Probe and Flowmon Collector, Flowmon platform, such as the Flowmon operating system, and basically the software parts, such as Flowmon Configuration Center, Monitoring Center, and Flowmon Traffic Recorder. So these are the things that we are working on, and that is basically under the NPMD category. So what are we planning? Let's start with Flowmon 10.1, which is the release that we have released quite recently. It was released as beta in January 18th, 2019. So it's very fresh release, and I would just like to repeat some key highlights because we've done a lot of work and we've added some new cool features. First of all, we have a brand new Flowmon dashboard, which is really cool. It is based on brand new design and also technology. And what is really great is that it's fully responsive. It works correctly on any device, including your mobile phones or tablets. It also offers much bigger flexibility. You can really resize the widgets that you add in any way you want and place them as you like. So the level of customization, it's higher. And last but not least, we have also simplified how widgets are defined and added easier configuration of the widgets. So that's the Flowmon dashboard. Hope you will like it. Second biggest thing that we've added to, or that we've improved in Flowmon 10.1 is the revision of the NPM metrics. So we have basically improved how the NPM metrics are calculated, specifically, for example, server response time, out of order packets, and so on and so forth. We have also included the details on how these metrics are calculated into our documentation. And we have improved not only the calculation, but also how you can work with these metrics. So these are fully supported in the reports and Flowmon dashboard. You can create chapters and define specific NPM metrics that will be displayed there, and so on and so forth. So that's two main highlights of Flowmon 10.1. And if you are interested in learning more details about it, please read our blog post where Flowmon 10.1 is explained, the news and changes is explained in more details.
So Rostislav, will this be available on our public demo to try and to use?
I'm not sure. Yeah, eventually, yes, but at the moment it is not there, but we will work on adding it. I think it will come once 10.1 is switched to stable, stable release.
Great.
So, so much for 10.1. And now let's take a look on the future. Flowmon 10.2. We do plan to release Flowmon 10.2 during April. So you can expect it to be delivered sometime during April. And what are the things and improvements that we do plan to introduce in Flowmon 10.2? First of all, we would like to add, or we are working on adding support for Amazon VPC flow logs. Basically, VPC flow logs is a feature that allows you to capture information about the IP traffic in Amazon Cloud without any third-party agents. So we already have a collector that is available in Amazon environment, in Amazon Cloud, in Amazon Web Store, and we do plan to expand the functionality by adding support for native Amazon monitoring. Second part, which is currently in development or in progress, is the monitoring of Azure Public Cloud and deployment of Flowmon into Azure Cloud. So we have already, again, a version of Flowmon Collector that can natively run in the Azure environment. And we are currently working on having it certified and having it officially published in the Microsoft Azure Store. So this is one of the parts, and we would like to have it ready by April. However, of course, the certification process can take some time, and it's not entirely in our hands. So this is something that is being solved at the moment. Second part is support for basic, also support for monitoring of network traffic in Azure via Azure Virtual Network tab, which is a new feature that has been just recently added to Microsoft Azure Cloud Platform. It is currently still in beta version, but what we can do with this is basically capture the network information from Azure tab and then use Flowmon Collector to display it, analyze it, and so on. So these two things we're mainly focusing. We are mainly focusing on cloud, but we also want to extend our SCADA IoT monitoring capabilities. This time by focusing on the energy distribution grid networks. So we do plan to add support for 3 more protocols: Goose, MMS, and DLMS. And Goose, these are based on the ISC 61850 standard. We are continuously working on improvements of the distributed architecture. This was a very large or big thing that we launched with Flowmon 10, and we are still continuously working on improving it. So we would like to introduce a way how you can simply back up the configuration of the master unit and replace it, restore it to a master unit which has been replaced, or yeah, if it's broken or something and damaged, you can simply replace it and just restore the configuration and connect the new master unit to existing DA topology. And last but not least, we are working on some performance optimizations where we would like to improve the performance for customers with multiple sources and channels where the responsibility of the user interface is at the moment not that great. So some of the things or some of these improvements were already part of Flowmon 10.1, but we plan to add something more to Flowmon 10.2. Our next major release, Flowmon 11. So we do plan to launch Flowmon 11 during October, and we have one major thing that we would like to add in this release. It is the next step in the way or in the progress that we are aiming with the new user interface, and which was started with the Flowmon dashboard. This time in Flowmon 11, we would like to do overhaul of the reporting, and we would like to present new consolidated reporting for all Flowmon modules. This will be, as I've mentioned, based on the new design. It should allow you to, again, perform better reporting definition, better scheduling of reports, and many other improvements. You can see that there we have some mock-ups, so this is something that you may look forward to. These are the current design mock-ups. Eventually it may look a bit different, but you can see that it's quite matching the Flowmon dashboard, so it's not really the next step towards the new user interface. And now let's we of course we have many other features in our backlog, but this will be introduced later as we have more certainty as what will actually go to the release. So we will mention that in one of the next webinars probably. Let's take a look on the time perspective. Yeah. So we have prepared some timeline just to better illustrate where we are and when the releases will be launched. So Flowmon 10.1 in January, Flowmon 10.2 currently planned for April. There are these changes that I've went through that are mentioned, and Flowmon 11 that should be launched during October. So much for the NPMD part, but we still have one more, and that's our beloved Flowmon Traffic Recorder. So for Flowmon Traffic Recorder, actually, we do not plan to introduce any major changes during 2019, but we do plan to introduce a very nice change in 2020. We would like to expand the Traffic Recorder functionality and add one very important function, which is the automatic analysis of the captured PCAP files. So with this functionality, Traffic Recorder will be able to automatically analyze the captured PCAP files, find any possible problems, issues on the network, and also offer some suggestion how you can resolve this one. So this will be very handy, and it will be I'm confident this will be a great feature. But really, we are aiming with these changes for 2020. So this is everything from the NPMD roadmap.
Thank you very much. I actually have a few questions.
Great.
That came through. And let me just maybe start with the cloud. Can I purchase Flowmon directly from AWS Marketplace? I believe that, if I may answer the question, I believe that sure. You can download Flowmon in the AWS Marketplace, but you get the license through our sales channel, right? So that means you buy Flowmon the regular way as you would do, just the software itself, the package is downloaded from the marketplace.
Yes, exactly. This is the bring your own license model.
Another question was, how about the new reporting? Does it mean we would have to recreate the reports from the scratch once the new reporting is out?
No. We don't want to make such horrible things to our customers. No. Of course, we are planning some kind of like migration or update tool that would allow you to basically transfer your existing reports to the new reporting. This is something that we would like to ensure is available, and we are always keeping or having the compatibility in mind where we are developing new features.
And because we need to continue to another use case, so maybe last question, will we be able to switch between the user interfaces, the old one and the new one?
Yes, we do with the rollout of the new UIs, if we can call it that way. We always want to preserve the existing functionality for at least one version. So there is some period where both interfaces, both options are available. So we are expecting that there will still be new reporting and all reporting available at the same time for some 1 or 2 versions until the old reporting is eventually cut off.
So. Excellent. Thank you very much, Rostislav. And let's crack on to another use case, which is, I think that's Tomasz, right?
Yes.
On the APM.
Hello, everybody. Let's speak about our application monitoring, which is Flowmon APM, and what we can expect in 2019. First of all, there will be new version 4.3, which is about our probe and ability of APM probe to see the traffic inside the tunnel. So some tunnel decapsulation will be supported. The second main release will be APM 4.4, where we are expecting some technology update, and APM, this version will be installable on Flowmon 10.1 platform. The main change in the application monitoring will be in 5 version 1, where we will bring or come with time series analyzer. There will be some baseline calculation and alerting based on some changes from the baseline, and trend calculation, and also alerting some changes in trends. So how it looks on the timeline. So in the end of the February or March, we will come with APM 4.3. It means with integration to Flowmon probe. In May, we will come with Flowmon APM 4.4, and then you can install 4.4 version on Flowmon platform, latest version Flowmon platforms. And finally, in the end of the year, we will come with APM 5 and all the features regarding time series analyzer. So this is finally all from our APM roadmap.
And questions again.
Okay.
So one of the questions is, what's going to change from a user perspective when we add APM into the exporter, the probe? Is there going to be any change in user interface or something from user perspective that is going to change?
Yeah, there will be some little change. You should be able to set up what tunnel should be decrypted. So some little change in the settings.
And another question for the time series analyzer. This is going to be based on some manual thresholds.
Yeah, there can be manual thresholds, but understand it that you will add some alerts by percentage or percentage change or something like this. Is it will be not needed to set up exact value.
Great, thank you very much. Let's continue to another use case, and that's again Tomáš and anomaly detection system.
Up to me again. Thank you, Artur. So let's speak about our security product and ADS, our network behavior analyzer. So what we can expect in 2019. So there is something what we have already released. This is Flowmon ADS 9.5, which is already out in beta version, and there is a new event analysis dashboard. There on the main dashboard is some change. You can see two graphs instead of one. The first one is showing processed flows per second by the ADS engine, and the second graph is showing in colors each of type of the method and event in the graph on the timeline. And in the table below the graph, you can see all the methods, all the events detected in the perspective instead of the top 10 only. So you can see all the detections now on the dashboard. So there is also possible to switch to some other view or the graph where we can see it in the priority view. So this graph is colored by priority. So you can switch it and set up your default view in the user settings. And what else yet? This false positive activation, the activation feature. When you want to test how it looks without some false positive settings, you can deactivate just one, just the false positive, and look what will be detected, and then you can activate it again with some without any special settings. So the ADS 9.5 will be the last one in the season 9, I would say, and we will continue with facelifted ADS 10, where will be fully integrated open source Suricata IDS, and the facelift will be similar to the, I would say, Flowmon 10 platform, as you know from nowadays. Okay, and we will come also with some main change and with some stream processing and high performance engine for the ADS. It will be really new anomaly detection engine, and we are preparing it long time, and we will finally release it this year, somewhere in the end of the summer. So how it looks on the timeline, already released version 9.5 with new dashboard. We will continue with facelifted ADS 10 after somewhere in August, and in the end of November with Flowmon 10.1 and integrated IDS, Suricata IDS. So this one will be the final version with original detection engine, as you know that from now, and then we will continue with ADS 11, also released in the end of November, and then will be the high performance stream data processing engine released. So what is important to say that B patterns will not be introduced in this version yet, and this feature we will add again in March 2020 with version 11.1, where will be new implementation of behavioral patterns, user-defined behavioral patterns, and together with support for distributed architecture and all the settings from user interface. So that's all from the ADS. Artur?
Thank you, Tomasz. I'm reading through questions, and I think I have three. One is, oh, they keep coming. One of them is, how is this new feature for disabling and enabling false positives different from what we have today? Because today you can disable false positive, right? So what is the change? What's going to be different?
That can happen that you would like to test it, and you can delete it, the false positive, at this moment, but you have to set up it again.
Okay.
So there will be the option to, I would say, to stop for some time without need to set up it again.
Right. Great. Now another question is, how the stream architecture changes performance? Can you see how many times we're going to enlarge the processing power? Is it going to be 3 times, 4 times?
More than 4 times, actually. Yeah, it will be a really big change, because instead of some proprietary database and some questions to this database, we will use really some stream processing. So this is really different architecture with possibility to process up to some thousands flows per second, several 10,000 flows per second.
Great. Another question is that in our demo instance, ADS uses Adobe Flash. Will this be deprecated with the new user interface?
We don't expect that we will need to use Adobe Flash.
Okay. And we have time for one last question. What we can get from integration with the IDS Suricata? What is the benefit of getting IDS data into Flowmon?
Okay, as you know, IDS Suricata is already integrated, and you can see related IDS events. It means that when you will detect some event in ADS, you can look if there is some other important information, maybe from IDS, if there is another view on this issue, if there is not some other information yet, based on filtering by source address, destination address. So you can have some more information from the IDS events also. Our plan is what was behind the better integration. We are expecting that we will be able to do some ADS event from Suricata events also. We are expecting there will be some aggregation or correlation engine, where we will describe some rules, and based on these rules, the ADS event will be detected based on events from IDS or from Suricata.
Thank you very much, Tome. And because there were so many questions, I am going to ask one last one, and that is if we're planning on expanding threat intelligence capabilities, talking about methods, blacklists, and behavior patterns.
Capabilities of behavioral patterns we will change and we will move this functionality from ADS directly to Flowmon Collector, and there are available all the extensions, and we are expecting that we will be able to write the rules on the all extensions, some simple rules, I would say, and alerts or events detected will be visible also in the ADS, like an external detection method. So it will be a big change from nowadays.
Excellent. Plus, I believe that everyone can upload their own blacklists, right? So you can customize the blacklist. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can use your own blacklist. At this moment, this blacklist should be IP addresses, and this is something what we would like to change, but this is not in my roadmap yet. This is the version which is immediately after the 10.1, somewhere in the 10.2 version during the year 2020.
Excellent. Tome, thank you very much. Moving on to the last part, which is DDoS, presented by Martin.
Hi guys, I'm pleased to show you the roadmap of DDoS Defender for this year. We are working mainly on a new major release, but before I will speak about that, we have some another releases coming. So first is DDoS Defender 4.3, which will be released actually in following days in beta and stable in March. And this version brings the compatibility with Flowmon 10.1 and some minor fixes. Then we will release version 4.4, which will be in May. And this version will bring, besides other things, the mitigation tiering. And this feature will actually help us to handle large attacks by using multiple mitigation strategies. So I will speak about this in detail. So here we have a sample configuration of the mitigation tiering, a sample scenario. As you can see, we have a service provider core network. The service provider has some customers called projected objects, and the service provider protects them against the DDoS attacks. To protect them against the DDoS attacks, the service provider have some on-premise scrubbing center for the scrubbing of the DDoS attacks, and Flowmon DDoS Defender, which handles the flow collection, attack detection, BGP route injections, and basically the mitigation of restoration. Then we have here a cloud scrubbing provider, which is in some relationship with the service provider. So, for example, when there is some large attack, they can use the cloud scrubbing provider service to mitigate the attack. What the mitigation tiering will provide is the customer can define threshold, and based on this threshold, they can use various mitigation policies or techniques. So this threshold can be, for example, the capacity of the scrubbing center, which is deployed on premise. And when the threshold is exceeded, the capacity of the scrubbing center on premise is exceeded, we will use cloud scrubbing to mitigate attacks. So let's continue. Here we have just legitimate traffic, nothing is going on. Flowmon is learning baselines, and when attack starts, we detect the anomaly, we check the volume of the attack, and see that it's below the defined threshold. So for this case, we will just redirect the traffic to scrubbing center, which is deployed on premise. We will configure the scrubbing center, and the first attack is mitigated in the on-premise scrubbing center. When there's another attack, which is actually in a sum is larger than the defined threshold, the Flowmon will inject the route with a different BGP community, and based on the policies of routing, we will actually make the attack traffic be redirected to the cloud scrubbing provider, which there will be scrubbed, and only the legitimate traffic will be sent to the protected segment. If there is another attack, we will again check if the sum of the first attack and the new attack is below the threshold. If it is, we will send it through the scrubbing center on premise, and if it is again larger, it will again go through the cloud scrubbing provider. So this is some mitigation tiering which is planned for May this year. And now I get to talk about the new major version of DDoS Defender, which is planned for November of this year. And this version will actually bring a lot of new features and new things because we are going from old detection engine to a new detection engine. The data will be processed in stream, so this will allow us to scale in the performance, for example, in number of protected objects, and we will be also able to make the detection faster. We can talk about the seconds, but it will be configurable. It will be up to you how long does the anomaly needs to be present to detect the attack, because we want you to tune it so you don't have a lot of false positives. Another improvements will be in the part of detection capabilities and customization. So there will be more baselines we calculate. You will be also able to define your own baseline, and you will be also able to configure the threshold. So there is plenty much more for all the baselines. So it will allow you much more customization. Another news for this version is facelifted UI. So it will look like what you are used to from the Flowmon Monitoring Center. And we will not only facelift the UI, we will also extend it. So we plan to rework the attack list. It will look much better. It will be a dashboard providing you information on glance how many attacks is present, what segments are under the attack. So in the form of some attack chart and some summary information, we will provide you the information. So you will know immediately what is going on, what segments are under the attack, and with some simple workflow, you will be able to deal with the attack. We'll also improve some user experience. So this goes in hand with the increased performance. If you want to create hundreds of protected segments, you should be able to create them simply. You should be able to group them and edit them in some bulks. So this will be also introduced in this version. Then we plan for the future to introduce distributed architecture for the DDoS Defender. So as you know, we have distributed architecture for the collector, and the DDoS Defender is not compatible with it right now. So we will work on the compatibility, which will allow us to scale even higher. And after the distributed architecture is released, we will work on advanced mitigation tiering. So what I showed you before, what will be available in 4.4, we will extend, and it will mean that when there is an attack, we will be able to, for example, use PGP flow spec to scrap something, some part of the attack, and the rest can be forwarded to the scrubbing center, and it will provide you more options how to deal with the attacks. So that's everything from my side. And
well, not entirely. I have questions for you. Thank you, Martin. I picked up 3 questions there. They're quite related, all talking about scrubbing part. One of them is, what scrubbing providers do we integrate with? I believe that this is the cloud scrubbing parts that you showed on the slide.
Yeah. Right now we have some integration with the scrubbing centers, which are typically deployed on premise. These are integrations with Radware, F5 and A10, and we are also.
When you showed the tiering slide, so there was the first stage.
Yeah.
The on-premise one.
Yeah, yes.
And then in terms of the cloud ones, the cloud providers.
We don't have any integration yet. We have some integrations with the same vendors, but they are offering a solution for which can be deployed on premise and also in cloud. So we are working with the same vendors, but with different deployments.
And then another question was, how fast can we redirect the traffic to the cloud? We're using BGP flow spec, right?
No, we are using BGP. We take the road with the BGP community, and this actually takes several minutes to propagate. So this can take up to several minutes.
And are we planning to introduce our own scrubbing appliance?
No, we are not. I don't have it on my roadmap, as Tomáš said. So no, we are just doing the detection, and we work on that.
And it makes sense because I think customers can choose from any vendor they wish based on technical requirements and costs, and we could build a new company just to do the scrubbing, right?
Sure.
Start everything from the beginning. Great, guys. Thank you very much for everything. We have a few more questions, but I don't believe we have much more time for that. Anyways, if anyone else has questions, just send them through. We'll receive them and we'll answer them through email after the webinar. To wrap up everything, so this year is about facelifting, new user interface, performance, stream processing, and those are the main changes. And we're trying to kind of consolidate Flowmon modules into single user interface, single reporting, single dashboarding, making everything much more user-friendly. Is that correct?
Exactly.
In the summary. Great. Thank you all very much for spending this time with us. We'll make sure to send you the recording and slides, and have a great day.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Goodbye.